Good morning, everybody. This is Paul Romero with the Sellahouse Wholesale Training Series number 12. All right. We have John with us today on the call, and I'm going to give John the opener here real quick this morning, give you a heads up of what we're going to be talking about, and I'll be right back.
Hey, well, good morning. I'm actually driving to a project site today. So Paul's pretty much going to run this call, but I'm going to introduce things here today. I hope that I've got a good connection. I don't have a picture, but I'm going to just kind of give you an introduction here to what Paul is going to get into today. And I think that we're going to talk about a sense of urgency. Wholesaling is a great business that I believe a lot of people can benefit from. Like, it's just low cost to get into it. It's relatively simple to do when you work with good mentors and good people who'll kind of teach you the ropes. So what we're going to kind of talk about today, I think the overall concept is going to be a sense of urgency. And why now is a great time, as any time is a great time, to get into something that's going to earn you some extra income that takes very little money. Everybody needs a system and a vehicle that can bring them that. Anyway, Paul, have you heard a word I said? Have I been there?
Yeah, no, you've been on the whole time without a face, though. You're black screen, but loud and clear, so no worries there.
All right, well, I'm going to listen in and jump it over to you, Paul.
Okay, great. What was I going to say? Oh, how many of you have ever heard of multiple streams of income? Okay, some of you I know have never even heard of. Has, I know, three businesses as well, all of which are bringing in an alternative stream of income. So if one situation happens to dry up, we've still got two other streams of income coming in. And trust me when I tell you, stopping at three is not an option. We both intend on having probably 10 to 20 streams of income at some point in time here in the future. And so when John was talking about sense of urgency, you know what? If you have a job, you better start thinking about another stream of income, because I tell you what, your job, there's a high probability that your job is going to dry up in the near future. And if you want some evidence of that, look at the news, but don't look at our news, because what our propaganda-ish style news media is putting out to us is the, masked over, we want you all to see through these rose-colored lenses how wonderful and beautiful things are becoming again. The status quo of everything that once was is again. Don't worry, everything's okay. You know what? I call BS. Total BS. All right? Everything that once was is gone. It's over. It's never coming back. Never coming back. Every time that a financial collapse, major financial collapse happens, it has signified a massive change in the way the world is run, all right, or the way this country is run especially. If you look back to the massive crash of the 1800s, it basically signified the difference of, going from an agricultural world into a industrial type of a world, and from the major crash, not an industrial type of a world, but I don't know, there was a major change there. But anyway, and then if you look at the major crash of the Depression, and what happened, we all know about the major crash of the Depression. That's the most popular one. And it's been said, time and time again. I'm sure you've probably heard it, that more millionaires were created during the time of the Depression than at any other time in history. And that's because the world goes through a massive change. All right, we just had, they call it a Great Recession. Again, I call it major BS. That's a Great Depression we're in, okay, people? Depression, huge depression, bigger, worse than the first one. They just, again, mask it over with all this rose-colored, happy horseshit, excuse my language, and make us all think that everything's wonderful and fine, and status quo, everything that once was, always still is, when it's in actuality, gone forever, dying and gone forever. So the major shift from the Great Depression was again. This is where we've gone from the agricultural to the industrial age, the manufacturing age, and that's why people such as Andrew Carnegie were able to become, the richest men in the world, because he got in on steel. There's a whole bunch of other people. Look at what's his name, Aristotle Onassis, who got in on shipping. If you're a manufacturing and industrial manufacturing country, your goods got to go places. They got to be shipped. People seeing into the future. They don't sit back and wait to be told, hey, this is what's going on now. Catch up. This is what you're going to want to do. You got to get a vision right now. A sense of urgency is equated to a vision. You got to look around at the world, look at what's going on, and see what's ahead of you. And one thing that's ahead of you right now is the possibility to make money flipping real estate, starting right now, today, within our system, which, unlike the other systems that are out there, that it's going to take you, like it took John and I, basically 3 years to figure out before you really start smoking at it. You know what? Screw all that. Jump in with us and start smoking from day one, and then, sizzle your way on down the road, figuring out all the extras and stuff. Forget about learning the extras now. Jump in on the meat, forget the fat. Anyway, back to the sense of urgency. I want you guys to take a look around the world. Seriously, this is your homework assignment for the week. The weekend. Well, for the week. Yeah, this is your homework assignment for the rest of the week. Take a look around at the things that are going on in the world, not here. Go online and look for some radio station broadcasts or news broadcasts from other countries that you can find that have been translated to English, and listen in, or that are just giving them in English. Listen to what they're saying in other countries of what's going on around the world. Get a different perspective from the the BS that you're being fed day in and day out here to make you think that everything's wonderful and fine. And once you get this additional information coming at you, you might have a little bit of a different mindset. It might have a little bit of a different thought about what's going on. Because look at how many wars are going on around the country right now. For one, look at this new ISIS thing that's popping up now. Al Qaeda's dead. We cut the head off of that snake. So we got to, another snake has to pop up. There's always got to be an enemy. There's always got to be a villain. And so now we have this ISIS thing that's happening. We've got hackers trying to get at the NASDAQ. There's just so much stuff going on out there in the world, and you don't think that everything that's going on around in the world has any effect on what's happening here in the United States, and yet all we ever get from the news is this crap about what's going on here and how, blah, 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 and this and that and the other thing, and, oh, look over here, shiny object, look over here, shiny object, but don't pay attention to what's really happening right in front of you. So these outside things that are happening in the world are definitely going to have an effect on the country. And, one of the major things that obviously is being masked over, in fact, they're not even talking about it anymore, is that, the quantitative easing and the debt and all that. How much more do we, we're not even hearing about that stuff anymore. And why is that? Because we got other shiny objects for us to look at, hiding the truth of what's really going on. I don't know if you guys really understand money, but in 1971, prior to 1971, every dollar bill that was in print and around the country and around the world, every live dollar bill that a person could hold in their hand It says right on the dollar bill too. It still says it, which is now a lie, but it still says Federal Reserve Note. What that meant was that for every $1 bill that was in print, there was an equal amount of gold in Fort Knox that was valued at $1. So every piece of paper was worth gold. It was equal, 1-to-1 ratio. When we went off the gold standard in 1971, that meant that we didn't have to hold an equal amount of gold to the amount of paper that we had. And what happened? We started printing paper. What does printing paper mean? When you start printing paper that you have more paper than gold, the value of that paper starts to go down, called inflation. Okay? Over the years, this has gotten more and more and worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, how many billions of dollars can you print per month and still hold any value whatsoever in that piece of paper? It's ridiculous. You can't do that. I mean, there's got to be an end to this somewhere, and the end is going to be, another major collapse. I'm sorry, I'm not a doomsayer. I'm just looking at the obvious, people. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Open your eyes, okay? Um, so we went off the gold standard, right? So we start printing some extra paper. Everything's great. Hey, this is a fantastic world. We got all this extra money. We're printing all this stuff up, but there's an issue. This inflation thing is causing a problem. So then, Reagan comes along in the early 80s and creates the oil embargo thing and manages to get the U.S. dollar recognized as the world reserve currency. Ha! Solution to the problem. We can now print as much money as we want because now all these other countries need our dollars to go out and buy the oil that they need to run their countries. They can't buy oil with any other type of monetary unit, whether it be seashells or drachma or whatever. They have to get U.S. dollar bills in order to buy their oil. So, hey, free reign for America. Start printing up the bucks, baby, because everybody around the world needs our dollar bills if they want to have oil to run their countries. So, we've been living high on the hog for 40 plus years doing this. Now, when we went off the gold standard, what we created is something called a fiat currency, which basically means that, yes, there's no real money backing up the paper. The average lifespan for fiat currencies throughout the world, throughout history, has been I think it's 30 years. 30 to maybe it's 30 to 40, but we're on 40. We're going on 40 plus. 71, 81, 91, 2001, 11, 40. We're on 40 plus years. Our fiat currency, the life of this fiat currency, is expiring. This money is old and dead and tired, and it's about to go into the grave. And what's going to happen next is now, instead of inflation can only go so high, you can only print up so many dollars, and the value of that dollar is going to go down. And you guys see it every day. I mean, look back just a couple of years ago at what now gasoline is not. Gasoline was ahead of the curve, and that's what everybody judges the value of the dollar upon these days is how much does gas cost, and gas is cheap. They're giving gas away at $3 and change a gallon. Gas should probably really be right now in relation to everything else probably about $15 a gallon. But if it was $15 a gallon, this country would stop because we can't drive to do our stuff. So they're giving gasoline away while the price of everything else is skyrocketing. I mean, look at what the cost of something, food, and food, obviously has to be maintained and kept in too, because if we can't afford food, we can't live. But it's ridiculous. I just talked to somebody who is on unemployment or is getting food stamps. All right, food stamps for food stamps for two people, and they are getting from the government $350 a month for two people to eat, to survive. $350 a month in food stamps, because, I mean, when I first heard that, I mean, my mind went, "Are you kidding me? I live about $25 a week. It feeds myself. I mean, $100, maybe $150 for one. Okay, $150 for one. Okay, so double that, 300. Wow. That's a lot of money. But I think back just a few years ago, and quite honestly, if it was me myself, I mean, I probably could have lived off of about $15 a week. The cost of food has almost doubled in a lot of things. It's ridiculous. And the cost of goods, the things that, the real things, the things that come from the earth, that's what is really going up in cost and value. Those things are going up. But you might notice that, especially if you're a business owner who runs a service business, you might notice that the cost of your service hasn't gone up. In fact, it's probably gone down. You're probably charging less money now than you were 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago for the service that you provide, because you have to charge less because everybody else is charging less if you want to get a job and you want to pay your employees. Your employees, too, they're probably getting paid less because you can't afford to pay them because you can't make as much on the job, and they're disgruntled. They don't, they're struggling worse than ever because they're being paid less than they were before. The price of everything's gone up, but yet they get less and less money every month. So, I mean, everything is shrinking. And if you think that your job, or if you're a student, if you're a young person right now and you're thinking that, hey, everything, I'm going to go to school and come out and get the good job, it ain't going to be there, man. The good job ain't going to be there. It's a myth. And the good job in and of itself is a myth right to begin with. I mean, doesn't matter what profession or what career or whatever it is that you're looking to go into, there's a cap. There's only so much you can do within that career or whatever. It's limited. I mean, you don't think they've already figured all this stuff out? I mean, why do you think that when you get a job, there's periodic increases, certain levels, certain accreditations that you have to accumulate in order for you to make it to the next level and the next level and the next pay increase and all of that sort of stuff? It's because the inflation is taking away from your purchasing power, but they keep you at an incremental increased level that keeps you balanced with that. So you really never get anywhere. You might be making more money, yeah, great, but you know what? It cost you more money. You might be making 10% more than you were 2 years ago, but you know what? You're able to buy 30% less. So you're not going forward at all. You're in fact going backwards the whole time. This is why you need multiple streams of income. This is why you need to get started as a property noodler right away. And wow, I'm running out of time already. Look at that. This is why you need to have, John and I, like I said, we have multiple businesses. We have 3 streams of income coming in right now. We're looking to expand on that and get more streams of income right now. You got to start with one. I mean, one additional to whatever it is that you have coming in right now, and from there be able to start building more and more and more. And the type of business that you want to look for is one that is not trading your time for money, okay? That's called a job. That's not a business. And if you own a business right now, let me tell you what, if you're trading your time for your money, if you have to materially be at your business day in and day out, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week, or your business is going to collapse because it can't run without you, then you're not a business owner, Jack. You own your own job. You're self-employed. That term self-employed, yeah, that's death. That's just your own job. And you know what? You don't just own one job now. You own probably about 2 1/4 jobs, because you know what? You got to go there, be there every day to make sure that the business is functioning and running, right? That's job number 1, 40-hour work week right there to be the manager of the business, all right? You probably end up having to spend at least about 1 day's worth of your time a week performing an actual duty within your business that your employees should be doing, because they can't even get it right because you haven't trained them right, and you don't have a system in place that gets them doing what the job. So you got to spend time doing that. So that's another 20-25% of a job that you have. And then on top of all that, you actually have to run the business. You actually have to be the business owner. That in and of itself is a 40-hour work week right there. So you don't own just one job in your business. You own 2 plus jobs. All right? Hey, you might be getting paid decently, but you're killing yourself putting in the hours. You want to look for jobs or you want to look for business opportunities that are, quote, a business system, okay? A business system is what allows you to leverage the efforts of other people. You want to have something in place where a lot of people do a little bit of work, and you get a little bit. Who was it? J. Paul Getty, I think it was, who said, "I would much rather have the revenue off of 1% of 100 men's work than to have the revenue of 100% of my own work." It's huge. Leverage is everything. All right. So, and what leverage gives you is time freedom. Okay. When you're leveraging the efforts of others, you don't have to put all that time in. Just, I mean, look at that. 1% of 100 people versus 100% of yourself. You're putting in 100% of your time, whereas you got 100% of people putting in 1% of their time. You don't think, number one, you're going to be happier that you don't have to put 100% of your time in, and number two, they themselves. If your business can perpetuate, if your business system can perpetuate down through others, they're going to be happier too because they don't have to trade their time for money. When you're trading 40 hours a week for a lowly paycheck that you have to pay the government the taxes first, you don't even get to pay yourself because the government takes your taxes before you even get a chance to have your hands on them because they don't trust you to pay them later because you know what? You won't because you can't afford to. They know that. If you have that money in taxes, there's no way you'd ever pay the taxes at the end of the year. That's why the government takes them, okay? Because they know they'd never get them because they know you're never going to be able to afford to pay them because you have a job, all right? Multiple streams of income. Property noodlers at gmail.com. Get on there. Send us an email. Get this started today. You will be closing a real estate deal in no time flat, putting a lot of money. I mean, I can't throw a number on it. I mean, it might be as little as a few $100 the first deal. Who knows? It might be multiple thousands of dollars. It could be $10,000. Who knows? You know, it could be anything. But you know, heck, you could find a great deal on a stumble into a great deal on a 20-story downtown, you know, apartment complex and end up making freaking $500,000 on your very first deal. Who knows? I mean, chances of that are highly unlikely. So don't think you're going to get out there and make one deal and have $500,000. But you know, are you there, John? Did you have something to close this out with? Now I got a picture and no face, so I don't think it's going to happen, buddy. But anyway, yeah, we're running out of time here, and I just want to say that multiple streams of income. Start looking for business opportunity. You have 2 homework assignments now. Look at the world. Look at what's going on. Get your mind out of the media propaganda of the United States and what they want us to believe. Look at what's really going on in the world. Make your own determination. Look at it with an open mind. Make your own determination of how you feel all of this stuff that's going on can affect us and our economy. Look at our economy. Look at these billions of dollars we've been printing up. Look at what I was talking about with the currency. Draw your own conclusions, okay? Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think somehow or another the government can lasso this in and save us all. I don't personally believe that it can happen. I think it's an impossibility, a financial impossibility, printing up that kind of money. So draw your own decisions, you know. I mean, I'm only putting out what I know and what I think, and it's up to you to make your own choices. But I will tell you this, multiple streams of income, I don't care what anybody says, is what you want to have if you want your life to look any different 3 years from now than it does today. And here's another little experiment for you. Look back 3 years ago, okay? What did your life look like then? Is it any different from today? I'll bet you it's not. If anything, I'd be willing to bet for about 80% of you, your life today actually looks worse than it did 3 years ago. Now, this is a bad example because 3 years ago, things were pretty tough. So for a lot of people, you know, right now their life does seem better. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to, they want everything to seem better. But it's really worse. Look at the time that you're giving up for your life to seem better. That's where people overlook. That's what people don't look at. They look at the money. Oh, we're making the money again. We can pay the bills again. Heck, we're almost paying them all on time again. Look at this. Everything's great and rosy. Look at the time you now have to give up to achieve that. You don't have a life. You don't own your own life. Your life is owned by your job and by your bills. I got to go. That's all there is for today, guys. Multiple streams of income. PropertyNoodlers.com. This is a great way to get started. There's businesses out there you can get started in very, very cheap. They're going to take you some time to get things rolling, okay? Property Noodlers, you can get in with us right now. You can get started on this right now. You could be closing a deal. I mean, literally within a couple of months, you could be closing a deal, getting money, changing your life, looking for more opportunity. All right, guys. I thank you for coming. I'm looking for my little arrow there. I thank you all for coming out here today, and I hope that my message here today means something. I hope that it hits home. I hope that you guys think about this stuff. I hope that you open your eyes to what's going on in the world, and I hope that you draw your own determinations, and I hope you start making some choices that are going to make a difference in your